Wow, I look at myself in the camera and I realize that I am tired. Hey everyone, for the next probably, oh my gosh, 2 months maybe, I'm going to give a series of talks. One big long series. Now don't get freaked out. I'm not going to go on for like 30 minutes every Saturday. But something came to mind. I finally made sense of something this week. Down here in Tampa, we've had some commercials with Franklin Graham, and he did Samaritan's Purse. He did hospitals when COVID hit up in New York. New York was the big one, but he did some others. And he's done some commercials here recently where he talks about fear and anxiety, and the cure for that is Jesus. And that's very true. And then he will give the evangelistic invitation. If you feel unloved, if you feel anxious, remember God loves you. And you can have a relationship with God again. Just admit you're a sinner. And I'll say, pray this prayer. Lord, thank you for coming into my life, forgiving me my sins. I want to give myself to you, give my heart to you. And then he says, call this number. Call it right now. And to be honest with you, kind of freaks me out a little bit. And I wasn't sure why. Now, don't turn me off, all my Christian friends. I figured out why this week. See, I am an evangelical Christian, Southern Baptist, dyed in the wool, through and through Southern Baptist. So when he talks about born again, praying this prayer, admitting you're a sinner, it makes sense to me. It's my language. You know, I went to church my whole life. I learned all about sin and God and sinners and justification, propitiation, all the Asian words. I can tell you what they all mean and how we use them. But what I realized is back then, and I'm looking back 40 years ago, everybody went to church. Everybody knew about church. The people that didn't go to church knew about God, knew about church people, and showed them respect and deference because, they knew God. And what I realized is today, not everyone has that same understanding we had 40 years ago. Everyone could quote John 3:16. Heaven only knows, it's been around forever. And it's coming around to where people can't quote John 3:16. They can tell you about church and sinners and things like that because of what they've learned from movies and social media. But it's not from church. A whole lot of people don't have that church experience. And I kind of realized this through some personal stories, but I realized that it's much broader than that. I mean, people burned the Bible up in Oregon, in Portland, Oregon. Some of those writers up there. Never happened. And I think that respect for God and religion has left because, people don't have that experience anymore. So what I want to do over these next probably 2 months, Saturday, I'm going to talk a little about all this Christian stuff, what it means, and kind of like why I'm a Christian. Kind of break it down and explain it in little bite-sized pieces. Because I think what freaks me out with Franklin Graham and his message is it would have worked 40 years ago. I'm not sure people know the words and know what they mean and know how to apply them. So right now, let me give you the very basic of what Franklin Graham says. He says, ask God. And what is God? Is it like a concept? Is it like a thought? Is it like a force? Or is it actually a he? And why a he and not a she or a he, she? And outside of sex, no male nor female. Who is God? And what's interesting about this question is I've met very few atheists, but I met a lot of agnostics. They believe that something created this stuff, or someone, that there had to be some designer. We just don't know who it is. So next Saturday, I'm going to start a little bit with God. It kind of ties into what I said Wednesday about fathers. So, enough for today. This is what the plan is. I'm going to break this down on what this Christian, God, and church, and personal relation, what all this stuff means, and how it affects life. All right, guys, not a whole lot today, but hopefully I've teased you a little bit so you'll come back next Saturday. Remember, check us out. We're on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube at #FLCompassChurch. And for all the latest updates, check out our website, www.flcompasschurch.org. Thanks for watching, and tune in Wednesday. Got a really interesting question. I'm going to talk a little about space and aliens. All right, have a great week. See you Wednesday.